You're now tuned into the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on the SonicBreakdown.com.
Hey, welcome to another Stay Woke Podcast. This is D-Ray Brinson, and the Stay Woke Podcast is again presented by the SonicBreakdown.com. So we got a special guest today coming in, The Beer. What's up, man?
What's up, man? I'm super excited to be here today. Thanks for inviting me over to be a part of this. Excited to share my thoughts.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
So let me give a background on what this podcast is going to be today. It's kind of a branch off version of what we talked about in Will You Sit, Stand, or Take a Knee, part 1 and part 2, dealing with more social issues and discussing different views and perspectives on the social issues going on. So I wanted to begin. This is more going to be kind of like an interview-based type podcast to somewhat extent, but we're going to have some interesting discourse and see where it goes.
Hopefully, yeah.
Man, you got to have some faith. I got you. You're going to be straight. But I wanted to begin by saying I want you to let the audience and the fans know your ethnicity, your culture, and how the Black Lives Matter movement and the whole issue with police brutality is affecting you and your culture, or is it even affecting you and your culture, and your stance on it, in essence?
No, it's a fair question. It's something I think about just in my free time while riding on the BART, going to work, Does it mean something to my community? So to give you some background information, my family's from India, specifically from Punjab, and even more specifically, we're Sikh. So you would be most familiar with seeing Sikh folks who, wear a turban and a beard. They're truck drivers. They work at the local convenience store. They're cab drivers, whatever, post office. These are the stereotype jobs. Yeah, for sure. But that's how we get mostly recognized.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my background. So, coming here in the U.S., always definitely, especially if you wear a turban and beard, which I don't, and we can get into that later today, why I don't wear one and my folks do. But like my grandfathers, my uncles, my father all don their turban and beard still. And it's a big thing in America. Like, you get noticed, when you have something like that. It's so distinguishable.
Yeah.
And you easily get stereotyped and classified into groups. To kind of hit on, what Black Lives Matter means to me. So first off, I just want to maybe rewind real quick and take it back to what happened in, I think it was 2011 or 2012 with Trayvon Martin, and also Oscar Grant before that. Let's talk about Fruitvale in 2009. So this was 2009. I'm a Bay Area guy, born and raised here. Just like anyone else, I was trying to have a good time, go celebrate New Year's Eve and out in the city. And on the way home, I was taking BART just like a lot of people were. I didn't want to drive. And there was all these delays. And you're like, what's going on? What's happening? And the following morning, you heard about this whole Oscar Grant, the Oscar Grant incident with the BART police there. And that really shook me up. I was, for me at the time, it was like, okay, yeah, I get it. He was an unarmed black dude who was pinned on the ground and shot by a white officer. But it also kind of sucked because it was New Year's and it was like a bunch of different things. And so that really stuck with me.
A culmination of things, It's not just any day. It's just, a day that you make memories and you want to make, and having that association, that makes sense why it would be, stuck with you, especially if you probably were mad at the reason of the delay at the time, and then you find out like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that can also maybe have an effect and a reason on it.
Well. At the end of the day, the story was bigger than the delay, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
But
some real
everybody gets trapped in the moment at that time because you don't know, and then you find out, like we said, that it's bigger than the moment, bigger than that initial reaction. But so I can imagine that having an effect as well. So.
Pick it up off the Oscar Grant, slang. The next big thing that really hit me was what happened to Trayvon Martin. Here's a kid.
George Zimmerman.
And here's a kid who's in high school, and come on, man. Just what happened with that incident where he was kind of stalking him and following him, and he attacks him and tackles him. It was complete nonsense. And it started beginning to raise my awareness into that. First of all, like I'm aware that in America, it's not easy being an African American, especially a black male. It's very tough. But it's kind of now seeing this getting portrayed in the mainstream media, and people having these cell phone recordings and videos and all of that, it became really real. It gets put into the forefront. So I understand where the Black Lives Matter comes from and what it stems for, and what it represents, and I support that. To tie it back to what does it mean to my community? I've thought about this a lot, and I think it's tough because, for example, my folks can't relate to this. For me, being born in the U.S., growing up in the U.S., I have a diverse upbringing there, right? I get to go to school with all kinds of different folks, right? I get to grow up with white kids, black kids, Filipino kids, Hispanic, whatever, all kinds of kids. For my parents, they didn't have that. And, by the time they come to the country, they're in their 30s or 40s, they just work. And they're ready for retirement and put their kids through college and get them married. Like, that's what's on their mind. So I don't, I try to, how does my dad feel about this? Because my dad, obviously he's gone through some racism in the U.S. And he's also, he's a U.S. soldier. He's a U.S. Army veteran with a turban, mind you, in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Before all this Bin Laden stuff ever happened, like, my father served in the U.S. Army, jumped out of airplanes with a U.S. Army uniform on with a turban on.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's
so that's some real, real shit right there.
Yeah, that's some real shit.
But
hey, your dad's a beast.
No, super proud. I mean, a few months ago, he actually spoke in front of Congress about allowing Sikhs to continue to be in the military with a turban on here in the U.S. But anyway, it's hard for them to just relate to kind of what's happening. I don't think they. It's a news story to them. For me, like, when I hear about, there's another black dude that was shot by the cops, he was unarmed, or the situation could have been prevented. It's jarring, and it's like there's not a respect for humanity. There's not a respect for folks, for people, and the police are not protecting and serving, but they're becoming like. Judge and jury and executioner all in one, and not even a matter of time, but like a matter of moments. They're deciding all of this, and that sucks, because you don't want to have. I mean, ideally, you don't want to mistrust your police.
Yeah, you should. If you feel in danger, that's the people you want to call. And if you don't feel like safe enough to call them, like, where does that leave you? Like. Yeah. And imagine having that feeling all the time because of how omnipresent these police killings of unarmed black men is becoming. Even though I don't believe, personally, I don't believe the incident is higher. Yeah. I just believe the fact that they're getting caught on camera is higher because of the fact the distribution more cell phones every day, the distributions of people just being more aware because of selfies. More apps have abilities to take video, take cameras, and we're using them more because of those reasons. Yeah. So you're on devices and you're taking pictures at the same time. Yeah. More often than we ever have been in the history of in the world. Yeah. So of course you're going to see more shit than you saw before because, like I said, you increase more ability to record things. You're going to get more shit recorded.
Exactly.
So I don't believe. I just believe that the optics are changing because as a result of that. That's just my personal belief as a result of the things I'm seeing. And I do want to also say that it is it's hopeful to hear. Again, prior to having this podcast, I just let you know what the topic was going to be. You never told me your answers or your responses, so. Everything that I'm finding out is on the moment, and it's reassuring or refreshing to hear you say that that's how you feel. Because if we can get more people, because I've said it in prior podcasts as well, as black people, we can't not change anything on our own. Yeah. I don't care if every single black person in this country does everything. Like, there's only so much we can change.
I mean, it's the same for any ethnic group, Like, you just do it on your own.
You can't. You need when Martin Luther King did the bus boycotts. It wasn't just black people marching; it was also white people marching as well, and that's what really started making things change. Yeah. Is because you start opening up the eyes by the people that are oppressing you, and that changes from them being oppressors to helping the oppressed. And so it's something that's needed, and having dialogue and being open-minded is something that not everybody has, but is needed for this movement, this progression, to have a long-lasting, refreshing change and important and needed change. But touching on that, do you feel that other people, let's say if we want to take this and say that yours is generational, do you think that your generation is seeing it more the way that you feel or the way that your dad feels?
No, I don't think there's people in my generation that see it the same way I do. I think that you have to have a level of like social awareness, social consciousness to see it like that. Not like I'm not like, fucking Gandhi or something. I'm not like, sit here, but like I get it in a way, and I see what's going on in the system. I mean, like the type of racism that African Americans are facing is institutionalized and systemic. The type of racism that my dad faces or my grandpa is just like pure like ignorance, like stupid bullshit. But like they can still kind of get a job. Like the cops aren't gonna pull them over and just shoot them, but that stuff happens regularly to black folks, and it's a different kind of level of racism. It's not something you have to maybe worry about on a daily basis. And it's not even the cops are your enemy either. It's typically like some ignorant some rogue guy. For example, I might be going on a tangent, but like in 2012 or 2011, I think, 2012, a Gurdwara is like a Sikh temple, and if you're anywhere around the Fremont area, there's a road called Gurdwara Road, which is the road into the temple. And there was a guy who was he was a Caucasian dude. He was a truck driver. He had been in the military. I guess he had lost some trucking contracts to some Sikh guys who had turbans on. Said, fuck it, I'm going to go up and march into this temple and shoot all these people. Oh, wow. And that happened, and about 8 people died, 11 people died. It was in the news for 2 days on CNN, all that, and then never talked about it again. Yeah. Because at the same time, these are people like who wear turbans and beards. So, like, can we really... And we already have Can we spend too much time on this story?
We already have... Yeah. They already have that negative connotation to that because of a result of which, to me, is nonsensical.
Yeah. I mean, like...
For this to even be... an issue to me based on an event of is ridiculous. Yeah. But that's the type of, especially, and I'm gonna get a little political with Donald Trump speaking the way that he speaks about Muslims. Is doing the same effect. Yeah. Is having that same. You're teaching hate about something that. Like, isn't necessary.
Yep. No, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and isn't even warranted. So, it's hard to.
Donald Trump's just pandering to like the historical masses, like the.
But that's the crazy part about it is that a large majority of people feel that way, and just like you said, and that's why I wanted to ask you that question about: is it a generational thing, or is it just the way a majority of people feel? Yeah. From your experience in your culture and your race, is that, and because if it's generational, that means there's different ways that can be approached versus if it's just more of. And when you said that for you, or not for you, but like for your dad and for your family, it's something that they don't have to face, and that brings me to a quote that I think I might have said before as well, is that a quote that I saw walking on the bus by, I forgot which comedian it was. I'm sorry for not giving you the credit, but you know who you are. You'll figure it out. Is that one of the greatest privilege, or one of the greatest things of white privilege, is that they don't have to face race. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, of course, that you're not white, but that's the thing that black people as a culture has to, like, there's nothing we can do about that. Yeah. Like, there's literally nothing we can do about that. If you hate somebody for their religion, unless certain religions, it's very obvious. Yeah. But there's to a certain degree you can hide it. Unless you just outright say it. If you don't want to get prosecuted about it, you don't have to say it. Yeah. But Like, there's nothing there's no way I can say, hey guys, I'm not black.
Right.
Like, don't shoot me, I'm not black.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way around that. And so, like, we have to face it. There's no if, ands, or but about it. We have to.
No, there's always a chip on your shoulder for that, in a sense. Yeah.
And the other thing that also brings me up to is, like, the fact that that's an added burden that we have to hold all the time. That it makes it, which brings me up to another thing is, like, some of the experiences that I've had as a child that I've till later on that I realized wasn't just a childhood thing, that it was a black thing. And one of those things that I want to see if maybe it isn't a black thing, if it's just other variables that cause that to occur. But, like, conversations that my mother had with me that I've talked to other people and they said they never had those conversations is about how to address cops. Yeah. Like, that's a conversation that I know my mother had with me, my brother, my other brother, that a reminder talk about it with uncles and aunts about it is, you know, if you get pulled over a cop, you say yes, sir, no, sir, you know, don't move too quickly, you know, don't reach in your pocket unless they tell you to, and you do it very slowly. Ask for permission to do anything. You know, if you're pulled over in a car, keep your hands on the steering wheel until they come to you and they can see you. You know, before they even get there, have your windows rolled down. You know what I'm saying? Like, things of that nature. Have the music turned down. Where, like, that I don't know if other cultures have that. Or the example of, I remember being in the store and I had a hoodie and I had my hands in my hoodie, and I honestly don't remember how old I was, but it was enough that it made me remember it vividly. I had my hands in my pocket, and we were at the counter, and I was with my mom, and she said, "LeVar, take your hands out your pockets." And I'm like, well, why? She's like, "Take your hands out your pockets. I'll tell you when we get outside." So, you know, my mom don't play that shit. So, and she told me twice. This is the second time. So I know there is no fucking chance I'm getting a third. Yeah. So I take my hands out my hoodie. We go outside, and I'm going like, you know, why are you telling me to take my hands out my hoodie? And she's like, because if you have your hands in your hoodie or you have your hands in your pockets, they're going to think you stole something. And she was like, I know you always, because I always used to carry a pack of gum in my pocket. And she was like, so if you have your hands in your pockets, they think you stole something. They say, take what's out your pocket. You got a pack of gum that can be easily for what they consider the pack of gum that's sitting on the counter where you're next to. Yeah. There's no way for you to say that you didn't take that you had this prior. Yeah. You don't want to put yourself in that position. Yeah. And so that's the kind of frame of mind that, as young black men, that we're taught to think. So, like, when we go into places and we do things, like, I just feel like we don't have that freedom that I see other people have, where they can just be careless and don't think about it. But it's more like, for me, it's like, all right, I'm in this store. All right, let me stand over here. Don't keep my hands in my pockets. Make sure my hood's out so they can see my face clearly. If I have my hat forward, maybe I should turn it backwards so they can clearly see my face and clearly see that I'm not a threat. Pulling over, like I said, what to do, what not to do. If you're on the street, whatever, like if you're addressed by somebody, you know, make sure you're clear, you know, like things of that nature is like where if that's constantly going through your mind, when do you get a time to relax? Yeah. And is that something that you guys, that your culture, your family, that you see other people have to deal with, or anything similar?
Luckily, no. We don't have that same level, I guess, scrutiny constantly on us, and always having people sort of judging you based on where you parked your car, or you got your hands in your pocket in the fucking 7-Eleven or whatever the case may be. I mean, we're the clerk at the 7-Eleven, so we're probably wondering why you have your hand in your pocket. But no. This is all again. I think it goes back to sort of coming to America. And choosing to come here from, I think, the 70s, 80s, 90s on. Like, you come here and you want to assimilate. You want to really be as much a part of culture as possible. And part of that is, unfortunately feed into some stereotypes. And so some people aren't going to take the time to get to understand the plight of, being black in America because, what the media shows you or what, stereotypes are is like, okay, be careful, watch out kind of deal. Right. Again, like with myself, so my parents never had a conversation with me like, oh, how do you interact with the police or whatnot? But one of the things that stood out to me in my childhood was after 9/11. So just give you some context. Big time Bay Area sports fan. Maybe we'll get to that later tonight or not. But my father, a season ticket for the Giants and 49ers, used to go to games all the time, my whole life. After 9/11, I'm at a Giants game with my pops and my younger brother, and a bunch of people after years of going to these games are like eyeing my dad up and down because of the turban thing, right? And he's like, oh, he has a turban on.
Yeah, because that changed it.
Yeah, it changed everything in their mind now. Yeah, they're like, what the fuck? Like, And people walk by and were like, Bin Laden, like right in my dad's face,
Oh, wow.
And with us there too as kids, and like that shit stuck out to me. So yeah, I didn't get to have maybe the same kind of conversation that your mother was instilling this, like, hey, this is how you interact with the police, whatever, authorities. But it was shocking to me because I always felt we were Americans. This is our fucking country before anything else. My dad was a soldier. He was an army man for U.S. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, like, people are just...
He fought for his country.
They're calling him Bin Laden. They have no idea. That really stuck out to me, man. That was a big deal for me growing up. And it made me realize that no matter how much, you feel part of this nation, as a minority of some type, they'll always exclude you in some way. They'll find some way. Yeah. The establishment or whatever, like those folks who don't wish to learn and don't wish to open their mind to what the strength of America is, which is diversity. But no, I never had a chance to have that kind of conversation. Like it just never came up in my household. But I understand that conversation that your mother had with you is something that happens in countless homes throughout America.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like the things that normal parents see as the way to make sure that their children survive and live long, healthy lives is the normal things. Go to school, work hard. So they're gonna instill those things in you. Yeah. Like as black parents, you have to add a few more things on that list. Yeah. It's extra layer. Yeah, there's extra things that you gotta make sure you get across, because if not, and even in some cases that we're seeing now today, or not specifically today, is that that even if you do those things, you don't comply, you could still possibly get shot, get killed. Yeah. So that's the more unfortunate thing. Like I said, I don't think the incident has increased. I just think that it's getting captured more. Hopefully we can do something to change that and evolve as a country and go past that, so that we can have that feeling that you were talking about. We all feel like we're just Americans, because at the end of the day, like, even though I have to go through life living kind of that way, that I explained, that like you just always feel, and that's what part of me feels like a lot of, and I'm not stereotyping, I'm just going based on my interaction. A lot of white people tend to ask me, why don't you smile more? Why are you mad? Like, I'm not mad. I was like, just because I don't smile, that doesn't mean I'm mad. Like I said, if you have all those things you got to think about, plus the normal shit, like bills, family issues, like, just living life, the normal stuff. And then you got, because again, a lot of black people, I'm not giving excuses, but you come from low income housing. You already got to fight an education battle. You got to fight healthing issues. Like, you got a lot of things already against you because of institutional racism and systematic racism that has you behind the 8-ball. So you have those problems that normal poor people have. Then you add that on top of the issue, like I said, about what you got to think about as a black person, and then add that on top of just normal everyday life issues that even rich people have. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you got that's a lot of problems you think about all the time. That sometimes it's not the fact that you're not mad. It's just literally, nigga, I'm thinking about, like, I got shit I gotta think about. Like, it's not, I'm stoic. I'm just, I'm thinking. But there has been times where I've seen white people that are in similar, let's say, financial economic situations as me, but still don't feel that worrisome pressure that I have as a black man. So I can see them having that freedom that I was talking about, that carelessness where it's like, oh, hey, shit's popping, like they can be on their last dollar and everything, but it's still cool. But like, like it's like for like me and for like us, it's like if we on our last dollar, which I'm not, that you like shit, like I got that now to worry about too. Yeah. Like the line from Atlanta, the show by Childish Gambino, which I want to shout out, which is an excellent show, by the way. He has a line in there when one of the characters uses his money to invest into something, and he's like, "Poor people ain't got time to invest in shit. We too busy poor trying to figure out not to be poor. Yeah. Like, you got bills to pay. Like, I can't invest when I ain't got the money to pay for the shit I gotta eat tonight. Exactly. Yeah. So if I invest this money, I ain't got no food to eat tonight." And that's what he was saying is like, so like when you thinking and have problems like that, and I'm not saying, but because I can go to mass realms, but that has an effect on you psychologically. And so that's just something that I think people need to take into account, and hopefully we get to a point where everybody can have that carefree attitude where regardless of what's going on, that's that one less thing you got to worry about. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so this is going to sound really cynical of me, but I think for us to get to that point, we need a zombie apocalypse or something.
Because I was about to add, that was going to go where my next part was, what do you think is possible solutions?
Dude. I mean, I remember you sent me a text a couple of days ago, which the itinerary or the topics would be for today's thing. You mentioned a boycott, and it got me thinking about boycotts. And first of all, America's number one religion is not like Christianity or nothing. It's consumerism. It's all about buying shit. It was the first thing George W. Bush said after September 11th. Oh, no, go to the mall.
Yep, I'm going to give you those refund checks.
I'm going to give you refund check. Buy shit you don't need. Buy 2 washers.
It was called something.
It wasn't bounce back to work. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. It wasn't that, but it sounds like it.
Yeah, but it was something. I can't think of the name, but it was. And
but they were the Bush tax cuts.
Yeah, they said Best Buy sales went through the roof.
Yeah, go buy an oven.
As soon as they were released. TVs.
Yeah, buy shit like that. Buy ovens and TVs.
Instead of shit that you needed, like, let's say they put in that in the savings account and use that for our bills in the next 3 months.
That's what we should have done. There's a fucking national emergency going on. We should have saved the money so everyone bought fucking RVs, but like you said, fucking tables and refrigerators.
We're a country that lives above our means.
Yeah, no, always. I mean, and this is nothing new. No. I mean, this kind of style began after World War II. The U.S. was kind of on top. They were like, "Damn, dude." I mean, Japan's nuked. Europe has been beaten down to rubbles. It's just me and Russia. They're commies. We'll be the capitalists, and that's it. The world's split in two. Yeah. And so they were like, okay, well, oil's the big resource. What do we do here in the U.S.? What do we do? How do we get people not thinking about all these freedoms and civil rights and what World War II represented? How do we get them on, like, we won the war, now go live fat? It was consumerism. It was marketing. Exactly. It was Fifth Avenue. That whole show, Mad Men. The whole show, Mad Men, is all about like manipulating your mind to buy shit you don't need.
Exactly, to buy stuff, and that wasn't just like one industry. That was
all
the industry.
The
industry itself, like that was, like you said, it was prolific.
And the seeds were planted back then, and so that's where we are today. I mean, dude, we're all guilty for buying shit we don't need all the time. I don't care. Yeah. Like, I mean, fuck it, you don't need a PS4, but whatever, you'll buy it and buy 7 games and play it. But you can probably live your life without it.
Do you think those boycotts that, and again, I want to give Sean King credit, because that's where I got the information from. And so just a brief background, and then we'll continue. Is that Sean King put out a newsletter for the New York Daily News, I believe, and is basically stating that a boycott that he's organizing, as well as others are organizing a boycott to occur in December. The plans are going to be secret. They're going to be revealed at a certain time. So I'm not spoiling anything because I'm sure
So
it
you
was
don't know
already
what
on the newspaper.
Retailers are being boycotted. Nope. Okay.
That will be released at another time.
That's a key question.
Exactly.
That's a good thing to know.
The whole purpose of it is we don't want to give them a head start to prep and how to deal with it.
For sure.
So if it's last minute or close to last minute, we're gonna give them just enough time, not even enough time, just enough time for the word to be spread, but not enough time for them to do anything to affect it. And as the letter said, regardless of the cause, there's not going to be no length associated with it. It could be one day, it can be indefinite until long-lasting, affecting change occurs. Because as you were alluding to, hitting their pockets is the only thing that tends to make an effect. Because protest is to bring awareness, in essence, to make the issues known. The issues are known now.
Are they really?
The issues are known.
I think
people don't care. That's what I believe. The issues are known.
Because people are still just worried that Colin takes a knee, but they don't understand why he's taking it. But they're just like,
because I believe that they hear why he's not taking a knee. They know why he's not standing. Rather, they know why he's taking a knee, but they don't care. Because if they cared, as we've had in part 1 and part 2, if they cared enough, they would stop talking about why he's taking the knee and focusing on him taking a knee and focus on why he's taking a knee. And they're not, and they're missing the message altogether, and they keep on diverting and distracting by way of media, through media, via media, to the masses to focus on the knee versus black people being oppressed, police brutality, racial inequalities, all of these things that we're talking about, systematic institutional racism, police not being held accountable, things of that nature. Because he stated that several times. He's made it known. This is why. It has nothing to do with military. It has nothing to do with anything else besides what I just named.
Yeah.
So I feel like they know. And if you're that aware of Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, you have to be that aware of Terrence Crutcher getting shot, Alton Sterling getting shot, Ferguson, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castro, Sandra Bland, Tamar Rice, the other young kid. I can't think right now.
No, there's a lot.
So the list can go on and on. But I'm saying, so if you know that, then you have to be aware of these. And if you're aware of these, because you don't see those same numbers of, you can't name a white, name any other race that's been shot by an unarmed other race that's been shot by a cop, and name the list that I've named just off the top of my head, and that you can also name, and that we as a room. We've heard at least a couple of those names, if not all.
What's my favorite? It's like, name me 5 San Francisco Giants. Can you? But no, you're right.
Exactly.
It's like, do you actually know?
Yeah.
And it's impossible to do that for any other ethnic group or racial group.
Exactly. And to me, that has to show that it's not. These aren't oddities. These aren't just coincidence.
Anomalies.
Yeah, anomalies. It has to be more than that, because the ratios are too high to be. Especially for a culture that makes up less than 20% of the population.
Yeah, I think it's less than 15.
Yeah, I think we're at 13, 14.
There you go. Yeah.
To be honest, and we're in the decline.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you hit on some really heavy stuff. I mean, to address some of it, I think it goes back to. So here's the thing, you boycott Christmas time. And you're boycotting these major retailers, but can you get the rest of America on board? Can you get the rest of them into that? And I think that's the big question. Because if you can get the rest of America on board, then that's great. And you got a few 100,000 people in front of every wall in America boycotting something. It's a matter of making it crossing like racial lines and having everyone get behind it. I don't think America as a country is ready for that. I think everyone's really neatly put into their fucking sections, even though we're supposed to be all diverse and land free and melting pot. We're really not a melting pot. Everyone's really just kind of segregation is a strong word, but like they're divided. Mm-hmm. They're not all together. So I think that's something to really keep into mind. And the concept and theoretically the boycott sounds great, but I don't know if it's going to get like that national fervor, and you're going to get throws and throws because frankly, to really make this known, you got to get white people behind it too. And that's
what I've been saying from the very jump is that is, and that's why when other black people say things like when Rodney Harrison said about Kaepernick that he's not even black. Like, what does that even have to do with anything? The fact that we should, if Tom Brady stood up if Tom Brady did that, you know how much of an impact that would have. And he's not black; he's white, as we know. If a white prominent person, especially athlete, celebrity,
it'd be amazing. Like Aaron Rodgers takes a knee.
Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady,
Derek Carr for the Raiders
Derek Carr, freaking Rob Gronkowski because he's widely known. Greg Olson. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of tight ends because one leads to another. But anyway, but that would have a major impact, and that would have a great. And so that's why when
Matt Prater, the kicker.
When black people say that, that's why that I'm like you're hurting our cause, like, and you're not thinking. And those same people will talk about Martin Luther King. It's like he wanted other races to join as well. Yeah. He embraced that. Yeah. No, because that's what if we're asking to be treated equally, then having them join us and treating them equally is the only reasonable response. Like. Yeah. That other than anything other than that makes no logic. It makes no logical sense.
Let's do simple math. I mean, 13% of the country can't get like the other 87% to get behind them.
We live in a democracy.
Like straight worried about their plight, and if their people get. I mean, you gotta appeal to the masses for any movement to work. Whether it's you want free bread or whatever you want. You got to appeal to the masses.
You have to get enough people behind you to support you.
Which is why I'm like, a zombie apocalypse would work because no one would care if you're black, white, Indian, fucking turban or not. You got zombies after you. We're alive. We're living. We're going to fight against this shit, But we're not there yet. So
I mean, I don't. If you think it will work, that's the only part of me that says I kind of want that. But
no, it's not gonna be fun, buddy. It's not gonna be fun.
But other than that, no. But
no one wants to get their leg.
But on some real, like, I hope I do truly hope that this does take effect, that it does hold on, that it doesn't have an impact, because we can have an impact as a black culture because, like I said before, the black culture contributes, I think it's $1.7 trillion to the economy a year. And, the population, I'm sorry, a correction, flown in by our statistician over here, our researcher. I'll leave his name anonymous, but thank you, researcher. That the population is actually 23%, so it's better than I was hoping. Okay,
thank you. Yeah, I'm impressed too.
He didn't quote the source, so these aren't my numbers. I'm just saying I heard 13%, but our researcher said 23, so we're gonna go with 23.
I'm just happy we have a stat guy.
Hey, we doing big things over here. But like I was saying, is like the black culture contributes $1.7 trillion to the U.S. economy. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money that, if it's diverted to other areas such as black-owned businesses, black banks, supporting black-owned businesses, again, will help provide more jobs for black people, as well as people of color, I'll say. Not just black people, but people of color, as well as continue to divert funds from big businesses which will affect change, because if you're messing with their money, they're going to try to figure a way to get it back.
Yeah.
And if pandering, changing rules, laws to assist in that occurring, business, they want to make money. They'll suck that up, and hopefully, I'm hoping that loss of money outweighs their racist bigotry thinking.
Yeah.
And not all races are bigots, but
And all bigots are racist.
exactly.
And a potato is a French fry when it's fried. But like,
so I'm hoping that, like I said, that loss of income will outweigh racism and discrimination and institutional and systematic racism by affecting change in policy, thinking, and in essence, culture.
So I think for that to like really take effect, and for maybe let's even say 45% of the country is 100% behind that, what you just said. So like a good half, just under. Like America has to go through like another really big like economic decline. I think in general, like we're still pretty well off. That's why I kind of joke around the zombie apocalypse, like I know zombies aren't gonna come, but like
because then now it affects a large enough of the population at one point. Yeah,
but they could. But no, I think you need like another big recession where people like kind of lose their houses. That you get another good chunk of folks who fall out of the middle class.
So this would have been more effective during the housing crisis. Well, the peak of the housing crisis.
Yes, but at that time, no one was ready to talk about this shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying that if all the events that have been occurring in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years.
If you mix these like political, social events with the economic events from like 2008 when the housing crisis happened, if it all came together, then I think you would get a lot of like a change all around. It would be like the perfect storm for an rapid, substantial change. Yeah, because what you need everyone to like get over their fucking like simple differences and get behind the idea that there's a common enemy. It's hard to have a common enemy when everyone's in like some people are doing good, some people aren't. Like, I can go buy 7 PS4s for Christmas, this guy can't. So like, who wants a boycott? It's very hard. I mean, like I said, I started this by saying consumerism is a religion in America. I talk about the whole Mad Men. I talk about afterward. Like, people love to buy shit here. And so to get people to not buy shit is hard enough.
No, I agree. I have a lot of hesitations about this as well, because there's been other things and events that have occurred that continue to show that the turnout isn't quite what we hope or anticipated it to be.
Yeah.
And this is something that I anticipate, if it's going to be effective, is the breadth and the depth at which it will have to be is going to be cause too many sacrifices for too many that aren't willing to make them.
Yeah, no,
because no change will happen with, like I've said it a million times, time, money, friends, family. Those are one of those things will have to be sacrificed. And I'm not talking about death again. I'm just talking about lost as a result to affect change. So that if it's time that you're volunteering, donating your time to affect change, like sitting on boards, going to council meetings, writing, talking, calling your congressman, congresswoman, people in any positions of office, voting, that's time that will have to sacrifice. Money, if the boycott is to occur and to affect, you're going to not be spending your money somewhere, which might cause you to spend more money somewhere else.
Yeah.
So you're going to be spending more money, which is going to cut your funds in essence, and might have to sacrifice the quality of life that you have now.
So I think, just painting a picture for you and going off what you're saying, I think that you would get a more like widespread, regardless of like culture, ethnicity reaction if you had like people having to go fucking steal milk our groceries from the grocery store because our dollar has crashed. Then you get people from all over the place behind that, and the police shot them because they took the milk out or whatever, and then they were unarmed, they had to get the milk for their family. That's when you would get this kind of like revolutionist act. People would be fucking, I'll sacrifice, because every great activist and every great revolutionary I know, they I've learned about freedom fighter, they gave it all. I mean, they gave their all. I mean, there was a point in their life where they realized, if like this movement or this belief I'm into is going to work, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than my mom, my dad, my wife, whatever, my dog. It's bigger than all of it. It's bigger than my little neighborhood. Like, I'm going to do my own thing.
How do you make that occur?
That's what I'm saying. We need our economy to crash, man. I don't think.
But that's what I'm saying.
I think people are living too good right now. Still.
Yeah, that, like you said, because you said people are living too good. So, and when you're living bad, those things that I mentioned are lower on your list than they are now, because just surviving and making it is higher on your list.
Give you like relevant examples in like, foreign affairs, like the whole Arab Spring, Egypt's revolution, everything that's been going on, in Brazil, Venezuela. I mean, these revolutions are happening right now because Colombia, like their economy's all tanked. It wasn't like things were totally perfect, but at least people had bread on the table or food on the table. As soon as you take people's food away, that's when like everyone just stands up.
Yeah,
they
because,
forget. Yeah,
like I said, like then because your priorities are readjusted from the things,
subjective shit to real shit.
Yeah, to real shit. It's like food is more important versus we got enough food. I'm not worried about that going anywhere. I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
Versus now it's like, oh shit, I can't eat. Oh, we gotta make some shit happen.
I have enough food. I have to pay the Wi-Fi bill.
Yeah.
Some black dude got shot on TV. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, they're gonna protest whatever.
I'm still gonna eat my food.
Yeah. Take the food away, take the Wi-Fi away. Everyone's tripping out.
Yeah.
And now they're worried about the black guy getting shot on TV and everything else.
But that is a little sad. You're bringing me down.
I'm a cynic, man. I am, but I smile a lot because I know it hurts. And I really I wish like when I was younger.
But I'm an optimist, so I ain't down. I'm still good because I believe it's gonna have an effect. Now, to what degree, I don't know. But if we keep on making small chunks long enough, it's gonna crack.
No, I certainly don't want to be a Debbie Downer with that. Like last.
No, but I did want you to. That's why I wanted you on here, is because, well, first I didn't know that you were gonna be that way, but I do like to have, because it provides another perspective, and that it provides things I didn't think about that I can now think about to try to think of possible solutions for what you said, and other people, other listeners, maybe can do the same thing, and using our collective minds together, we can possibly figure out a solution to these issues and make long-lasting changes without having a zombie apocalypse.
Oh yeah, I would rather be proactive than reactive, 100%. So no. It's about that time. But we've droned on here tonight. So, but no, amazing.
No, but yeah, and so I know we've been talking to you guys for a minute. We're definitely gonna have to have you come back and continue this conversation, branch out to other things, because we did want you to come back and talk about your sports fandom, because I've been looking for somebody to have a good sports conversation, because you're a Giants fan and Warriors fan, right?
And an Irish fan, and that's the really fun giddy stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely gonna have to get in a conversation.
No zombie apocalypse. They're only Kaepernick apocalypse. Like 3-1 Warriors had the lead. What happened? So these are the questions.
But we will definitely come back and broach those and more sports topics, as well as social issues. So again, I want to thank you for coming on and giving your perspective. It was very welcomed, and nothing to be nervous about, man. You killed it.
No, dude, it was absolutely awesome. I had such a ball. I'm glad you let me ramble on and go on tangents. It was incredible. Appreciate your time.
No, well, appreciate it. We're gonna have you back. So again, this is D-Ray Brinson, and we got the bear over here. So we're gonna have him back. And this is another Stay Woke podcast presented by thesonicbreakdown.com. And as you know, the motto, live, listen to some great music, and above all, love more. We out.